I'm in love.
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus.
Maybe I should have got you a gym membership.
No!
Welcome to the Whiskey Drive. It's a season of the loves.
All the loves.
The romance.
All the
Are you
romances.
feeling romantic?
Down to my cockles.
Nice.
Basically, we asked the magnificent bastards in the Whiskey Tribe, since it's Valentine's Day, what is the whiskey that made you fall in love with whiskey? Not the whiskey that first one that you liked.
Right.
What was the game-changing whiskey that made you go, I love whiskey?
Number 10 on the list. Maker's Mark.
Okay. All right. Now, we like Maker's Mark.
We do.
This is the bourbons that's been around for quite a long time. Always been held in relatively high esteem amongst whiskey drinkers.
My question is, are any of these whiskeys going to be something that converted you from no whiskey to whiskey, or from whiskey being okay to whiskey being great? That's the question. I think this is a conversion from not a whiskey drinker to I might actually like whiskey.
Okay. So you
it's
have
got
that
that same
honey in the cherry.
the molasses, and then slight but like earthy. It's just a classic bourbon. That's just an easy gateway.
Enough saturated, rich flavors. While not going so far into the deep end of the pool that it becomes too overwhelming with the proof and the hotness. It's like a 45% ABV.
Plus, it has the dripped candle wax, which is romantic.
Oh, I'm chubbed up just looking at it.
Number 9 on the list is Highland Park 12.
All right, here we go.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Yeah, it's up on Orkney Islands.
Yeah.
A little bit of sherry cask in there too. A little bit of peat smoke.
Yeah.
It's got that perfect combination, I think, of a nice rich sherry cask and a little bit of
that
peppery
the dark fruitiness with the peppery peat smoke.
and easily accessible.
Balanced
So,
right up against each other, really nice.
now this peat smoke might turn some people off, so it might be like I start with budget shit.
Peaty, it's earthy, almost a little salty, briny.
Yeah. It could be that you think, oh, this is what whiskey's capable of after you've been drinking like budget and cheap blends and things.
Ooh, perfumey, dark, heavy fruit shows up on the taste for real.
Oh, yeah.
It takes a lot to balance up against a peat smoke, but it's there.
Four Roses, specifically, they voted not just any Four Roses, but the Four Roses single barrel.
Okay. This was basically a high rye bourbon, if I remember correctly.
Higher than what we were doing, yeah.
Right. It's got a little bit of that. I think we actually had a Four Roses, not this one, but a Four Roses.
We had the yellow label
in
Four
the
Roses
last video,
recently.
and this has.
That was the one that Alex actually really enjoyed. Yeah, turned him into a bourbon fan. This is the higher cask strength, or higher cask,
And
50% alcohol.
like that herbal rye citrus zest balanced up against that brown sugar and that honey. I think Four Roses.
I love.
The rose is a symbol of love.
That's right. So that makes sense.
Romance, because love, and the feelings that one has in the love
With the romance.
and the romance
on the days.
on the days and the times
With the circumstances
that
surrounding
are conducive of feelings.
and roses.
Penis.
Next on the list is Redbreast 12.
Okay, so the way this process usually works is somebody will get curious about whiskey, they'll dabble, they'll try a few things out that they like to varying degrees. A lot of people getting started don't realize as much as there is variety in beer or in wine, you can find that in whiskey, from the sweetest and lightest and most delicate to the heaviest, smokiest, dense and hardcore whiskeys. The Redbreast was a beautiful note of like a shortbread cookie, that rich, sweet, buttery savoriness that just explodes.
I think it threads the needle of being a light and approachable whiskey, but not being boring.
This is, if people are into Jameson and they want to kind of take a little bit of a step further deeper into the Irish scene and what it's capable of, the first thing I'm recommending is often a Redbreast. If they like those Jameson flavors, I think this takes a lot of those flavors and turns them up a notch.
Yeah, it really is just a buttery biscuit note. I have a hard time believing that anyone starts from zero, drinks Ardbeg, and goes, I've arrived.
Right.
We have multiple people who said their first whiskey was Ardbeg or Laphroaig and they fell in love.
Right.
but that's shocking to me.
Wow, because we just got finished talking about how much variety there is, how wide the spectrum of whiskey flavors are.
Yeah, you couldn't be more opposite.
We're in a different country. We're in Scotland. We were just in Ireland.
We're on
and
Islay.
this is on the opposite side in almost every single way. This is going to be smoky, briny.
Oh man, like salt water and
like a meatiness.
And caramel taffy, saltwater taffy.
Islay scotches, like at Campbelltowns and whatnot, these are, I think, outliers, not just in whiskey, but in the vast majority of drinks and spirits. Because almost all the time, you're going for something that's going to have a really big sweet element.
Yep.
Sweet's the name of the game whenever it comes to most neat pours, pretty much all cocktails. But once you get into a few specific regions in Scotland, you ain't playing the sweet game. I'm going to say the thing that flips the switch for people that fall in love with whiskey through this kind of path is because it's so different than anything that you've had before in a glass.
It stands out. It's the whiskey bad boy. It's like, I can make them good.
You can try, baby.
Nothing says happy Valentine's like the buffalo.
Buffalo are the most romantic of all God's creatures.
That's right.
When I think of the romance,
I think of the buffalo. So compared to the other two bourbons, much lighter and much more like almost botanical spice.
with a nice layer of an oaky honey underneath.
Yeah,
that.
just kind of tying things in. But coming after everything else that we've tried,
Right.
This is light and effervescent.
Yeah, and
it's kind of sparkly.
It's a 45% ABV. And I think this is probably one of those whiskeys where people realize they can get outside of the Jim Beams and just the big iconic brands. This is like a really nice whiskey. I can absolutely see this being the moment. Yeah, I'm curious about whiskey too. Oh my God, I love whiskey.
Yeah, Angel's Envy is a bourbon.
Yeah.
Finished in port wine casks.
And that makes it pretty special. That makes it fairly unique. This doesn't often happen in the world of bourbons. The few that we've had, I really liked. I am hopeful that...
The cask's finished.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that more bourbons start exploring what a cask finish...
Belmead does a great job of all these various cask finishes. It's getting more and more so.
Just a really quick... finishing is different than aging.
Right. Primary aging in an oak barrel, so that you start with straight bourbon.
Yeah.
And that has to be new oak.
Yeah.
So it got to at least 2 years old, because it was a straight bourbon, and then they moved it into port wine barrels to finish it, right? To add that last little bit of character to it.
Getting like this rosy caramel on the nose.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of those fruit notes show up. On the profile, it's not dense and dark and heavy, but it's very candied.
But it has this like rosy caramel. It's like a floral, almost a fruity caramel that comes in.
So Eagle Rare is one of those that I think it's super botanical, kind of eucalyptus-y and that kind of thing. This is a 10-year-old bourbon, right? And I always find Eagle Rare to be really a lot more on the eucalyptus rye note kind of spicy thing.
I can see that.
Like,
Like
you know what I mean? Drier.
I'm getting a like eucalyptus on the nose.
And I think you can taste that tannin on Eagle Rare in a way that you can't taste on the other ones that we've tried. That barrel note.
Wow, that's a much more pronounced cherry.
Yeah, and it's thin. It surprises me that this is...
See, I'm not getting thin. You're saying thin? I'm a thick boy.
Maybe I should have got you a gym membership. You instead of candy.
I'm getting a really nice, rich, thick cherry.
It's living in the upper mids to treble territory for me. Number 2 was Laphroaig 10.
Well, you know what's surprising me? How few Irish whiskeys have been on this list so far.
I know.
Yeah, Irish whiskey seems to be, it's like tailor-made. Like, it's so...
Yeah, but I could see how someone would say
Really?
that Irish made it acceptable to drink whiskey. Like, oh, I could actually like this.
Right.
And then they found something, once they were acclimated, that was complicated enough to
Right.
make them switch gears into love.
So, Irish, it can be the flirtation.
It's the high school sweetheart.
You want a bottle throwing around some ass.
Yeah.
Some attitude.
This is the world where someone tells you, I'm going to show you what you like. And you're like, oh, okay. Ah, yes.
And then it's a very, very smoked, like a ham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even more briny than the Ardbeg.
Oh, yeah.
Even more saltwater fresh, like fresh fish.
Yeah, and with these Islay scotches, these smoky scotches, there is sweetness to be found, but it is buried underneath layers and layers of very untraditional flavors in the broader world of whiskey.
This is like a saltwater smoked vanilla bean. Yes! I'm in love!
Good thing I'm wearing a hoodie so you can't see these through the shirt.
I, on the other hand. Wait, ah! Like, ah! The hands! Number 1, also from Nick Offerman's shop.
Yeah.
As the number 1 whiskey to fall in love with. Lagavulin 16.
Again,
I get it.
The top 2.
Yes.
The drama queens, the divas, the smoke monsters, man. Just
Yeah.
throwing around that ass.
This one has far more subtlety and nuance compared to
Right.
Ardbeg and the Laphroaig tint.
Yeah.
At least the tints, right?
Yeah, yeah.
This one has depth and leather
Yeah.
and study.
What I'm finding in these whiskeys that turn people from, curious into, like, I love freaking whiskey. These are whiskeys that aren't afraid to have some freaking flavor.
Yes, something that challenges you or something
Yeah.
that makes you look for something.
Because
or,
we've sampled like well over 1,000, on the way to 2,000 whiskeys at this point, and there's a lot of them that are just trying to make it so quote unquote smooth,
so easy.
so easy that it becomes very basic and simple. And the whiskeys that are actually converting people into, oh my god, I absolutely love this. These are the ones that have some flavors that aren't afraid to throw their weight around.
And may not be for the newcomer.
Not necessarily with the proof though.
No.
Because we're not
No, these
finding,
are
like-
all
these
low to
aren't-
medium.
Yeah, these aren't cast strength, but these are all.
I think our highest one was 4 Roses, 50%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, come on! It's got all the salt, brine, and mustiness of the other two, but toned down by 50%.
More nuanced, more.
Surrounded with deep, rich fruit notes and
Let's still have like that tremendous, weird, unique spectrum of flavors that Isla whiskey brings to the table. But let's figure out how to balance and interweave these things in a really interesting way.
I agree.
What was El's favorite of this?
Oh, mine's Lagavulin 16.
It's very close. I would have gone Redbreast 12, then Lagavulin 16.
I would have done Lagavulin 16, Laphroaig, Highland Park.
The game-changing whiskeys, this was a good list. When it comes to the romance, right, one of the things that whiskey has been a key element in
Okay.
is the love. I think beyond whiskey recommendations, we're going to show people how to steal a lover's heart.
Okay.
Now,
Like mythologically speaking?
yes,
Oh,
yes. And what better way to do that than pickup lines?
I've got some good ones.
Do you?
Yeah.
I have a sneaking suspicion that your pickup lines are just dad jokes with hard-ons.
Yeah.
We're going to have a Cupid challenge.
Oh.
And this is
that what this is?
is our androgynous target. Could be a lady or a dude.
Looks sort of like Alex.
All right, I got an update for you magnificent bastards. We are bringing in our very first official sponsor to the Whiskey Tribe channel. Basically, we need to pay for the new editor, the 12-year-old boy with the beautiful hands, and also a lot of the content that we have been planning and developing and strategizing for a long, long time. We want to be investing in that in 2020. Now, the Wizard of Ads partners jumped at the opportunity to be the very first sponsors. I'll explain why in just a minute. But first, the Wizard of Ads partners are marketing professionals who help grow small businesses into big businesses. This is the strategists, the writers, the media buyers, content creators. You've got different experts for different needs. Unlike most marketers, they're motivated to cut through the buzzwords and the bullshit and focus on what actually works because their pay is directly tied to the success of your business. The ups, the downs, they're in it with you. Now, for the first sponsor and any potential sponsors we ever take in the future, we very much want to have used or experienced that product or service ourselves. The Wizard of Ads partners, this is an interesting one because I spent damn near 20 years doing this as my career. I was actually a Wizard of Ads partner doing video content for clients all around the world. Like most things in life, it all comes down to finding the right fit. So you can go to wizardofads.com to check out the various people in the partner group. You can also get some free articles and advice over there. Here's the link on the bottom of the screen and in the description below. Now, there's probably going to be more than a few of you magnificent bastards that are wondering why don't we just open up the sold out tiers in the Patreon. We absolutely plan on doing that, and the MBs in the Patreon are why this exists at all. The distillery, the channel, the content, the team that we have cannot thank those MBs enough. And we want to be opening those sold out tiers as quickly as possible. That's not going to happen until we can absolutely guarantee that the deliverables that come with each of those tiers, we can actually fulfill those confidently. Thank you to the magnificent bastards in the Patreon. If you have some entrepreneurial aspirations for your business, be sure to check out wizardofads.com. Here we go. So this is going to be the Cupid Zero Challenge. If it is in fact a pickup line that carries with it the romance of Cupid, it'll hit the target. If not, if it's a dud, you're going to miss.
Aside from being sexy, what else do you do for a living?
sucks.
Ah! Do you believe in love at first sight, or should I walk in again?
God damn it. Are you my skin after I stress eat a bunch of cheese during finals week? Because I'm dying for a facial.
Oh, if that works, that's depressing.
You did not go too soon.
No. You're just like a wine tasting. They say spit, but I always prefer swallowing.
Oh, Jesus. No, that's not happening.
Send your comments to Cosmo Magazine.
No! No, Alex, it's dangerous. you with all those curves, and me with no brakes.